So just in time for Easter, we're going to look at putting some designs on some fun eggs. So I've got some examples for you for inspiration. You can use plastic eggs, you can use hard-boiled eggs. So there's some inspiration. Look how cute those mustaches are. Look at these silly faces. So I would suggest that you draw those on super lightly with just your pencil. Don't push too hard if you're using regular eggs. Could your flowers that are on the hats on those eggs be painted on? Absolutely, you could do that easy peasy. And look at these eggs, how cute. So ice cream cones, cactuses, unicorns. The little horn can be made with some clay. And there's a couple more ideas for you for your Easter egg inspiration. Now, the ones that I'm going to show you, here's another one that is just painted, very casual with their painting, and those are just dots that you dip in regular paint and touch onto the egg. So there's another one, and the one we're going to do right now is this one. So you're going to use your watercolors. You're going to put water on your plate, color in your water. You're going to start with a lighter color on the outside, a darker color on the inside. The line work on this egg is done with a fine tip marker, Sharpie marker, and then we are going to add some white with a gel marker. So I do want you to think about the colors that you're using, because here's my color wheel. If I had yellow and I put a color that's opposite, which is purple, I'm going to have a really ugly brown. So as you're using your colors, go in a row. You can go maybe 4, even 5, but then it starts to make your colors not so bright. So if you kind of skipped one or went in a row, that's what I suggest you use for your colors. So we're going to begin with an egg, and we do this in layers. If our color is wet, then the other color will follow that color, and there's a possibility that the two colors could run together. So I'm going to start with my water on my plate, my color in my water. I'm using water and my paper towel. When I do this, my color, I'm putting on a little bit more color than water so that my color will show up. So water on my plate, color in my water. I'm just going to casually go in. Now, if my color is too much water or too wet, if I touch it on a wet spot on a paper towel, it will pull the excess moisture out, and it'll be a little bit easier for me to apply. So wet spot on my paper towel, and I'm just going to add some fun little shapes. And if I feel like, ooh, I think I got a little bit too much color, I can take my paper towel, the edge, and it will wick up some of my color. Or I could dab with that paper towel, but I would recommend that you not get too much color so that it will drip off. And the next color I'm going to put on, I need you to think about that as well. So would I use purple or even blue on this center of this egg? Ooh, you could try it, but I don't know that you would love the result. So I'm watching carefully where I touch with my fingers, and I'm just going to put on a little bit of color. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is my leaves. And I've already got my blues in my green and my yellow in my green. Again, water on my plate, color in my water. And this time I want a little bit more water. So I'm picking up my yellow green, and I'm going to just lay down my brush and pull it to a point. Let me do it big right here. Lay it down and pull it to a point. That gives me a really awesome leaf. Lay it down, lift it up, twist a tiny bit, and pull it to a point. So that is what I'm going to do for my eggs. If you have a small brush, you could do little leaves that are close together. Now watch when you move your egg that you don't get your finger in something that's wet. And notice I'm keeping my color away far enough that the two don't run together. If my color is too close, I will have like this egg, and they will run together, but I'm not going to worry about that. I could take a wet Q-tip and wipe that out, but I like how that looks, and it looks like there's a leaf in front of my egg or my flower that you're seeing from the side. So I would leave that. Now it's going to take longer to dry. These are plastic eggs, and they will take longer. Your regular eggs will too. So make sure you use a little less water, little more color, and that you allow ample time for them to dry before you go on to the next step. Some of these I have already have my first layer on, So I'm going to go in now and I'm going to look at my color wheel, and I know I like orange with my yellow. That is not too far apart on my color wheel. And again, water on your brush or on your plate, color in your water. I like it a little bit brighter than that, and I want a tiny bit more color, not quite so much water. So I'm going to do my centers now. Really casual. I don't want to cover everything I've done. And if you choose to, I went in on this egg and added a little bit of dark with my blue and green. Now it's kind of bold, you may not like that. So also on the center of this one, I put a tiny bit of salt just in the center, and it pulls, brush that off, it pulls your color so it's a little bit darker. So I've already got an awesome center in my egg. So the next thing I'm going to do is take my Sharpie marker, and you will want to make sure everything is completely dry. And I'm not going to push hard because that marker, if you can see the tip, it's just a little fine tip and it will bend and you can ruin it very easily. But I'm going to pull just a few little marks on the edge of my leaves. And in my center, I may just outline that awesome texture that I created putting salt in the center of my petal. So if you wanted, you could also add some circles of dark that look like stamens, and outside outline again. Now, do not connect everything. It's much more pleasing to our eye if we see dots and dashes instead of outlines. And you could add some lines that actually went in a little bit different direction on your eggs. So go here and there and get me some outlines. And again, I did my leaf just a little bit. If I wanted to add some lighter areas, I could take my gel pen, and my gel pen, to get it started, I'll run it on a piece of fun foam, and then I could go in and add just a tiny bit of texture or a little bit of a highlight with my white gel marker. And the one that I'm using is Jelly Roll, is a number 8. There is a bigger one that I could use. The other thing, if you have white paint, you could actually use, it's called a double ball stylus, where it's round on one end, or a toothpick, and you could touch those lights on really carefully and then allow that to dry. So there are my awesome, wonderful Easter eggs. I'd love to see what you create.